Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Tonight, we return to the ongoing story of to Diep and CEO James. The two who've spent years standing shoulder to shoulder, rebuilding DJ agriculture from the ashes of past storms. Their journey has been a testament to endurance, of partnership, trust, and the quiet strength born from shared struggle. But just when peace began to return, fate turned once more. The warehouse, the heart of their business, became the stage of their greatest trial yet. It happened in the dead of night, a windless silence draped over the industrial district, the kind of heavy stillness that presses against the chest. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barked once and fell quiet. And then, a sharp crack split the night. In seconds, the dark sky lit up in a violent orange hue. Flames burst from the warehouse, wild and hungry, their roar echoing like a beast awakening. Sparks shot into the air, scattering against the black clouds. Smoke climbed fast, thick, choking, unrelenting, swallowing the faint glow of the street lamps one by one. Inside the DJ agriculture compound, alarms screamed. Workers, half asleep in nearby housing, stumbled out into the cold. Shouts filled the air, panic, confusion, disbelief. The warehouse, the stockrooms on fire. James was the first to arrive, his motorbike skidding to a halt near the gate. The red light from the blaze flickered across his face, carving sharp lines of fear and fury. Diep was just behind him, clutching her phone, shouting for the fire department. The flames devoured the building as if they had waited for this very moment, a punishment, a warning, or something more sinister. Was it truly an accident? Or was someone, somewhere, pulling the strings? A few hours earlier, the world had been quiet. The warehouse stood still beneath a low gray sky, metal walls rattling gently in the evening breeze. The scent of grain, dry corn, polished rice, milled husk, lingered in the air, a familiar perfume of honest labor. James was there, inspecting the final shipment. He ran his calloused fingers over the stacked sacks, noting their weight, the order tags, the neat handwriting of Diep's daily inventory. This was the biggest order yet, a landmark deal that could secure their company's stability for years. He closed the ledger with the carefulness of a man who respected every line written in it. Outside, the air was damp. Somewhere, thunder grumbled faintly but never came. When he stepped out to lock up, he noticed them, the figures. Three silhouettes lingering across the road, half swallowed by the fog. At first glance, they could have been workers finishing a late shift. But something felt wrong. Their movements were too slow, too deliberate. One tilted his head, watching. A shiver crawled down James's spine. The keys trembled faintly in his hand as he twisted them into the padlock. The clank of metal echoed longer than it should have, swallowed by the wind. By the time he turned back, the figures had vanished. He stood there a moment longer, staring into the emptiness, before muttering, "Maybe I'm just tired." He didn't know then, exhaustion wasn't what was haunting him. It was premonition. Their kitchen that night was small, glowing softly under a yellow bulb. Dinner was humble: fried egg, sweet leaf soup, a bowl of rice, but it carried the warmth of something much greater: peace. Diep spoke about their daughter, Mi, laughing as she described the little girl's school day. She sang in front of the whole class, she said proudly, her voice bright. Even the teacher said she sang the loudest. James smiled, but his mind drifted elsewhere, to the warehouse, the shadows, that silent gaze. The sound of the ticking clock felt louder than usual, like a drumbeat pacing his unease. Finally, he looked up. "Diep," he said, voice low. "I think I should check the warehouse again." "I saw some strangers earlier. It's probably nothing, but I can't shake it off." Her spoon froze midair. "Now? It's almost 10. You've been working all day. Wait until morning, James." He shook his head. "I'll just take a quick look. I'll be back before you finish cleaning up." She hesitated, then silently fetched his coat. Her fingers brushed his collar, a gesture small, but heavy with love and fear. "Please, be careful." The road to the warehouse wound through patches of wet dirt, each puddle reflecting fragments of the moon. The headlight carved a narrow path through the fog. James's thoughts raced with the rhythm of the engine. Every sound, every whisper of grass, every rustle of wind, seemed amplified. The closer he got, the stronger the smell grew. It wasn't grain. It wasn't soil. It was smoke, at first, just a faint thread. Then, a flash of orange ripped through the horizon. He hit the throttle hard. When he reached the gate, heat struck him like a wall. The warehouse, his life's work, was burning. He threw the bike down and ran through the smoke. Flames climbed up the walls, licking through the cracks, roaring like the wrath of something long suppressed. James grabbed the extinguisher, sprayed, shouted, coughed, fought, each second stretching into eternity. "15 minutes of fury. 15 minutes of helpless defiance. When it was over, he stood amidst ashes and ruin, trembling, chest heaving. And then, he saw it. A trail of dark liquid glistening under the flickering light. He crouched. The smell hit instantly. Gasoline, and beside it, footprints. Leading away from the flames. Police arrived minutes later. Blue and red lights pulsed against the blackened metal, washing over James's smoke-streaked face. He stood outside the caution tape, watching officers move through the wreckage with quiet precision. One crouched by the stain, sniffed the air. "Gasoline," he said flatly. "Poured intentionally." Rain stopped it from spreading. "You're lucky, lucky." The word hit like an insult. James stared blankly, the world a blur of gray and siren lights. The officer's pen scratched softly against his notebook. "Do you suspect anyone?" he hesitated. His throat tightened. "No, not yet." Then, after a beat, "But someone wanted this." "Someone close." The officer looked at him, studying the tremor in his hands. "You think it's sabotage?" James didn't answer, but in his eyes burned something between fury and disbelief. The face of a man who had built everything from dust, now watching it crumble again, not by fate, but by intent. When James finally reached home, the clock neared midnight. The rain had stopped, but the smell of smoke followed him like a shadow. Diep was waiting on the porch, her hair damp, her eyes wide and swollen from fear. When she saw him, she didn't speak, she simply stepped forward and grasped his hands, blackened and trembling. "It was fire," he said hoarsely. "Someone lit it. If I hadn't gone," his voice broke. Diep's lips quivered. "Who would do that to us?" He had no answer. Only silence, the kind that carried the weight of 1,000 suspicions. Behind them, the DJ Agriculture sign swayed under the weak porch light, its letters glimmering like ghosts in the rain. And in that long, wordless moment, both of them understood. This was not the end of a storm. It was the beginning of another. Outside, the night deepened, thick and restless. The city slept. But in James's mind, the fire still burned, not in the warehouse, but within. Every sound, every movement replayed behind his eyes. The figures in the shadows. The gasoline trail. The deliberate calmness of it all. This wasn't chance, it was a message, and the messenger, he suspected, was someone who once stood beside him. Someone who knew exactly how much that warehouse meant. Stay tuned for the next episode, the one in the shadows. In it, James begins to dig deeper into the ashes, uncovering clues that lead to an unthinkable revelation: the betrayal of someone he once called brother. When loyalty burns, what remains? The truth, or vengeance?